47. He's 36 and she's 32. It's the first marriage for both of them. Reverend O'Connell Milbourne presides. The Talleys settle down near where Hayward grew up, Nicetown. The happy couple buys a home together at 3959 Nice Street, no less. Nicetown is on the north side of Philadelphia. It's a blended mix of low-income and working-class families.
There are multi-generational row houses and high rates of unemployment, which contributes to petty crime in the area.
But still, it's a place to call home. And the happy couple love being together here. They are loyal Christians, active in their local church.
Their door is always open for a visit. And Louise just loves to garden. Her yard becomes the envy of the block.
Louise and Hayward build a good home life in Nicetown. Sure, they started a bit late to get married, but perhaps the wait will make their life together even sweeter.
When Hayward Talley dies in 1987, Louise is left alone with a choice to make.
Now her neighbors wonder, will the longtime Nicetown resident move out now that her husband is gone?
Louise decides to stay in the nice house on Nice Street that she shared happily with Hayward for 3 decades. Louise is a proud, independent woman. Even as a senior citizen in her 70s, she takes care of herself. She keeps an immaculately clean house, works in her garden, even washes her own car.
More than 3 years after Hayward dies, Louise is fully settled into her simple widow's life.
Independence can come at a price. It isn't hard to figure out that Louise lives alone in that old house.
She had recently had a loss in her life, so was quite a vulnerable individual in the community.
October 18, 1991, is like any other day in the Nicetown neighborhood. Midday temperatures reach 72 degrees Fahrenheit, but dip down to a pleasant 56 degrees overnight. But when Louise Talley goes upstairs to say her prayers on this particular fall night, she becomes a killer's prey. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon of the next day, Saturday, October 19th, when police at the 39th precinct get a call about Louise Talley.
Family members are worried. They haven't been able to reach the elderly woman all day.
When officers arrive at her house, everything appears to be as it should, from the outside. When they look inside, it's a different story. Furniture's been overturned. There are classic signs of a robbery.
In the master bedroom, police discover what every officer prepares for, but no one ever wants to find.
Louise Talley is dead and face down on the floor beside her bed.
She's been violently raped and sodomized. Her face is smashed in with a blunt object. She's been stabbed multiple times.
Her arms show defensive wounds, which means she put up a fight. But Louise was 77. She honestly didn't stand a chance.
The whole thing is awful. It's one of the most gruesome murders officers in the area have ever seen.
Nicetown is a neighborhood in shock. One of their favorite longtime residents is dead, a victim of a murder in the most violent of ways.
Local police are quickly joined by Philadelphia homicide detectives Dennis Dusak, Manuel Santiago, and Thomas Burke, who take over the murder investigation.
The first 48 hours of an investigation are critical. You have to follow any leads, no matter how big or small.
It's not long until investigators get a hot tip. Someone standing outside on the street says they saw a guy trying to sell a couple of stolen TVs.
When you have a tip like that, it could point you right to the killer. It could be a slam dunk.
From all appearances, Louise Talley's murder investigation seems to be unfolding in a way that would seem like an open and shut case. But it will soon take a turn that no one expected.
Are you dealing with back pain, stress, or have trouble sleeping? Now there's the award-winning Ready Rocker, bringing you relief whenever you need it most.
When I became a mom, my focus was soothing our babies. But I wanted the freedom to move, to rock our babies anywhere without being stuck in one spot. That's how the Ready Rocker was born, the world's first portable rocker.
But it wasn't just for babies. Ready Rocker helped relieve my back pain and even helped me sleep better.
We quickly realized we had created something much bigger, something that could help everyone.
Ready Rocker gives you the soothing relief of rocking anywhere, whether you're easing back pain, reducing stress, or relaxing tense, tired muscles for a great night's sleep. The secret is its rock-perfect design that provides ergonomic lumbar support, helping take the strain off your back and joints. Lightweight, portable, and cushioned with plush memory foam for comfort, Ready Rocker transforms any space into a healthier sitting experience.
Sitting and having a sedentary lifestyle is not good for the body, and that's why the Ready Rocker is so effective. The rocking motion helps you ease pain, reduces stress. It actually releases endorphins in the brain. It's a mood booster.
I would always have a pain in my lower back and especially in my neck. After Ready Rocker, I feel fantastic.
I can literally feel the strain being taken off my back while rocking.
My back stopped hurting, my arthritis felt better. It's just wonderful.
Join thousands who have found relief with Ready Rocker. Call now or go online to get 40% off your purchase. We'll even ship it for free. Plus, you'll get this bonus seat cushion.
We never imagined this invention would go so far and help so many people.
But we're so glad it did.
Call 800-391-2201 or go to GetReadyRocker.com. That's 800-391-2201 or go to GetReadyRocker.com. Call now.
I'm always on the go, so I need products that work just as hard as I do. That's why I choose Pretty Litter, the health monitoring cat litter with advanced odor control. It can save me money on vet bills by alerting me to early signs of potential health issues. Each lightweight bag lasts up to a month, which means I don't have to buy as much litter. I suggest you make the switch and see why Pretty Litter is on my list of favorite things. Visit prettylitter.com today to get started.
It wasn't always like this. Dryness made sex painful and awkward. But Reverie's vaginal moisturizer brought back the spark.
I couldn't move like this with vaginal dryness. Reverie's hyaluronic acid is super moisturizing. So I can do this again.
6 across 7 letters?
It's hormone-free. There's no messy applicator, so it fits our routine. Reverie.
Thousands of women have restored their vaginal moisture. Join them at Reverie.com.
Slotomania, the #1 free slots game, presents straight from the Vegas casino floors to your phone. The iconic Cleopatra 2 slot, featuring wild Cleopatra symbols that give you double. Enjoy the exciting multiplier that increases on every free spin. For massive wins, adding to Slotomania's variety of free slots and huge jackpots. Download Slotomania now and start 2025 with 25 free spins.
October 18th, 1991. Another typical day comes to a close in Nicetown, Pennsylvania. But this night also brings an untimely end to the quiet life of 77-year-old Nicetown widow, Louise Talley.
Louise is surprised by a stranger in her bedroom. She's attacked, raped, and murdered.
By the following afternoon, police are on the scene and news of the vicious killing is all over the neighborhood.
A preliminary assessment of the crime scene is underway.
Defensive wounds on Louise's arms tell detectives she fought hard in this battle. She didn't win the war.
We're looking for clues about the killing. How did Louise die? Was she also raped? Forensic evidence can be found on and around the body.
Investigators collect evidence from anywhere in the house that the killers might have been.
We're looking for fingerprints, and of course most of them will belong to Louise, but there may be other prints at the scene that were left by her killer or killers.
Crime scene evidence is everywhere. You just need to know what to look for. Sometimes it's what isn't there that can offer a clue. Dust marks on 2 tables indicate there may be 2 televisions missing from the house.
Evidence suggests motive, and the motive here points strongly towards robbery.
A closer examination of Louise Talley's body provides important clues.
Louise's house coat is crumpled underneath her body. When the rope gets carefully unraveled, bingo, the murder weapon.
A 12-inch metal knife with an 8-inch blade, covered in blood. This gets bagged and tagged. It's a crucial piece of evidence.
The knife matches other knives found in the kitchen.
So we know the killer didn't show up with a weapon. Instead, they found the knife once they were inside, in Louise's own kitchen downstairs.
If Louise was killed with her own kitchen knife, it's possible that this was a crime of opportunity, a robbery gone wrong.
On the sheets, blood and stains of bodily fluids.
Semen is often left behind in cases of sexual assault. It looks like Louise Talley was brutally raped, and her killer or killers have left their mark at the scene.
Finding so many pieces of evidence this early on should help investigators solve the case quickly, and time is of the essence.
While investigators comb the inside of Louise's house for clues, they get an important tip from people standing outside. A bystander gives police a hot tip about two men, Roland St. James and John Buddy Richardson.
The tipster tells detectives that 1 month before Louise Talley's murder, a crack house opened up just down the street.
It's a den of sex, drugs, violence, and theft, and it's run by St. James and Richardson, who are no strangers to police. They've both spent time in jail, and they both have extensive criminal records.
Witnesses tell police they have seen these men trying to sell 2 televisions around the area.
If those televisions belong to Louise Talley, that is a direct connection between St. James and Richardson and the crime scene.
When you get a break like that, you chase it hard, and it's critical we follow it up right away.
Roland St. James and John Buddy Richardson are identified as persons of interest in the vicious murder of widower Louise Talley. Police quickly track down the 2 men and bring them into the station for questioning.
Both of these men are convicted felons. They have been on the wrong side of the law for a long time.
Witnesses say they've seen 2 men in possession of 2 stolen television sets from the murder victim's house.
Richardson has an outstanding warrant when he's taken into custody, so he can be held for questioning in the Talley case, while St. James stays on his own accord.
Both men are now on the detective's radar, and these important factors are starting to quickly add up.
In the interrogation room at the police station, both St. James and Richardson are eager to talk.
Now, this is a bit unusual. Typically, persons of interest, if they're known criminals, aren't that keen on chatting with police.
If guys like this are going to say anything, it's to profess their innocence. But these 2 men are all talk.
What these men do say is not what the police are expecting to hear. St. James and Richardson admit to police that they were trying to sell 2 televisions, but they say they had nothing to do with Louise Talley's murder.
They say it was a druggie who stole the TVs. He showed up at their crack house and wanted to trade the electronics for drugs.
The druggie's name? Anthony Wright. He's the real killer, they say. He's the man you want.
Police have 2 suspects in custody, but they are pointing a finger squarely at a 3rd man.
When Roland St. James and John Buddy Richardson say someone else killed Louise Talley, investigators have to take that information with a grain of salt.
These guys are on the hot seat. They'll say anything to divert suspicion away from themselves.
The story St. James and Richardson tell police sounds credible. They have details about the murder, they know those TVs came from Louise Talley's house, and most importantly, they have a name.
A name is just what detectives want to hear when they're working to solve a case like this one.
Anthony Wright. Just hours after the grisly murder of Louise Talley, it looks like police have the name of her killer.
At age 20, Anthony Wright is no stranger to police. He's committed a string of crimes as a juvenile offender.
Wright lives within a mile of Louise Talley's home in Nicetown.
And now police have 2 cooperative witnesses who say Wright told them he killed Louise.
Anthony Wright is at home on the afternoon of October 20th, 1991, when detectives Burke and Santiago knock on his door.
Anthony and his 4-year-old son, Tony Jr., are getting ready to watch the Sunday football game together.
Police tell Anthony Wright they want to question him about the murder of Louise Talley. He needs to come to the station for questioning.
Louise Talley was murdered in her home the previous evening, a location less than a mile away from Anthony's home.
Anthony Wright is nervous. After all, he's no stranger to police.
Anthony, Tony, Wright grew up in a tough environment. He was raised in a household where alcohol abuse by adults often led to domestic violence.
In his teens, Tony drops out of school, becomes a young father, and gets tangled up with hard drugs.
To feed his drug habit, Tony starts stealing. Tony Wright is just 16 years old when he first gets into serious trouble in 1987.
Anthony is chased by police after he allegedly robbed a home. Cornered by the police, he hits an officer in the face with a wooden plank, breaking his jaw.
Anyone who injures a police officer while committing a crime is in for trouble.
Anthony Wright is charged with aggravated assault against the police officer. In court, Anthony catches a break from a judge who hopes the teenager can be rehabilitated.
Anthony is tried through the juvenile system and sent to a rehabilitation camp for troubled youth.
The detour away from jail seems to have worked. By October 1991, Anthony Wright is clean, sober, and working as a stucco sprayer. He's providing for his family. It looks like Tony is now on the right track.
Suddenly, Anthony Wright's life has taken a new turn in the wrong direction, and his violent history is coming back to haunt him.
This is a Morgan & Morgan alert. Have you or a loved one been diagnosed with meningioma after using Depo-Provera? Morgan & Morgan will fight for the compensation you deserve. This birth control shot has been marketed as safe, but recent alarming reports have found a potential link between the use of Depo-Provera and a higher risk of developing brain or spinal tumors. If you or someone you know has been diagnosed with brain or spinal tumors after using Depo-Provera, take action now. Call the number you see on the screen. 800-579-0077. Morgan & Morgan for thepeople.com.
Learning to invest with Greenlight has really paid off.
Reminds me of how I learned about investing. Yeah, I never learned about investing.
Is there water in this thing?
Bring your family into the financial future.
I need Q1 full index reports by desk by noon, complete with comprehensive data
Are you getting any of this?
Charles.
Yep, Honnor's got the meeting notes. I'll ask it for action items in the channel. And Maria already asked for a budget reminder. Smart.
On by morning. Got it?
Got it, boss. Otter, you got this.
If joint pain from aging is slowing you down, Omega XL can help you get back in the saddle, just like it did for John Walsh.
Today I'm here at my ranch exercising some of my polo ponies. Got to be really fit to ride these horses. So as you get older, it gets tougher. I was starting to suffer some of that business. And then I ran into somebody who said, look, you should try Omega XL. And look what it's done. I feel better than I felt in the last 30 years.
I'm Reve Walsh. I'm John Walsh's wife. I ride fox hunters, and sometimes I'm in the saddle for 3-5 hours at a time. A lot of work out here.
I wouldn't have been able to do this. Muck a stall, throw hay, do all the things that needs to be done on a ranch a couple years ago. But Omega XL gave me the ability to get back in the saddle. It works great.
Once you try it, you don't want to be without it. It makes a huge difference.
It does. Take it every single day. And you know, there's a benefit. It's made you a lot nicer to me.
If you've been living with pain, it's time to get this special offer, the Omega XL, the joint health supplement that millions have trusted for more than 20 years. Omega XL, it's sourced from the green-lipped mussel, exclusively found in the pristine waters of New Zealand, some of the cleanest waters on Earth. Omega XL, it's natural, drug-free, and it's backed by more than 40 years of clinical research that show it really works. Try Omega XL today. Pick up your phone and call the number at the bottom of your screen right now for a special offer. Buy one, get two free. 2 bottles of Omega XL plus Vitamin XL D3, a value of more than $100. But call today and you pay only $39.95. That's a savings of more than 60%. Plus, it's backed by our 60-day money-back guarantee.
Try it. You got nothing to lose.
Call or go online right now to get this special offer. 2 bottles of Omega XL plus Vitamin XL D3 for only $39.95. Call now.
Coming up next on True Crime Network.
On a street called Nice in Nicetown, Pennsylvania, in October of 1991. It's been less than 48 hours since 77-year-old Louise Talley was stabbed, bludgeoned, raped, sodomized, and murdered in her own bedroom. And the killer is still on the loose.
Anytime you have a vicious crime and the perpetrator is still at large, detectives are under the gun to solve the case. Fast.
The first 48 hours are critical in a murder investigation. The chances of solving a case drop dramatically by as much as 50% if officers don't have a viable lead before those 48 hours are up.
The last thing police want to see is for a case to go cold and a dangerous killer to go free.
Early on in the Louise Talley murder investigation, police catch a break. Witnesses point to two neighborhood drug dealers who are seen trying to fence two television sets that may have come from Louise's home.
These two suspects, in turn, point a finger at 20-year-old Anthony Wright.
Anthony Wright is known to police. He's been in serious trouble before and was convicted as a juvenile for assaulting a police officer during an arrest for robbing a neighborhood home.
On the afternoon of October 20th, 1991, 2 days after the killing, Anthony is picked up at his home and taken to the 39th precinct.
Once police have Anthony Wright in custody, they go to work to win a confession.
Detective Santiago is polite with Anthony until he gets him into the interrogation room. Then, Santiago explains why Anthony's really been brought in.
They know about the stolen TVs, they know about the drug deal. An elderly woman has been brutally raped and murdered.
And now the police tell Anthony that they know he did it.
Detective Santiago lays out the gruesome details of the murder to Anthony.
Santiago wants to close the case, and he is hoping to shock Anthony into a confession by listing the things that were found at Louise Talley's home.
The rape, the sodomy, the stabbing, the robbery.
During hours of pressure from police, Anthony Wright denies he has anything to do with the crime.
Anthony says over and over again that he didn't kill Louise, that they've got the wrong guy, that he's innocent.
Anthony tells Santiago he has an alibi. On October 18th, he worked all day and got home at around 5 p.m. He went to a club at around 11 and returned home at 4 a.m. with some friends.
He couldn't have killed anyone, he says. He was simply somewhere else at the time.
Is it possible Anthony Wright isn't the killer that police are looking for?
When a suspect says he didn't commit a crime, it's a tough spot for an officer to be in.
The evidence points in one direction, but the person in front of you points in another. You can start to second guess yourself.
You've got to remember that it's hardly unusual for criminals to plead innocence, even when they're guilty of sin.
It can affect it negatively if officers are closed-minded with tunnel vision on, and if they have a preconceived notion of what is and how things are without having an open mind to ensure that you are taking every aspect into consideration fully and honestly.
Detective Santiago decides to up the pressure on Anthony Wright by bringing Detective Burke into the interrogation room with him. And this time both detectives appear to be angry.
They call Anthony a liar. They call him a punk and a bastard. They tell Anthony he's not going to outsmart them.
They tell him they're going to prove he raped and killed Louise Talley, and they are for sure going to prove it.
After 2 solid hours of high-pressure interrogation by 2 seasoned detectives, Anthony Wright remains adamant that he didn't murder Louise Talley.
Over and over, Anthony tells Detectives Burke and Santiago he didn't do it. He tells the men he doesn't know what they are talking about. He doesn't even know any old lady on 9th Street. He cries for his mom.
Police don't like feeling they're being lied to, especially if they have solid evidence pointing to a suspect's guilt.
It's the job of all police to fight for the victims of crime, especially those who aren't alive to defend themselves.
And given the chance, police will push a suspect to the limit to get the information they need.
In this case, the detectives apparently tell Anthony they'll push his eyes out if he doesn't tell them the truth.
They tell him he can't have a drink of water or smoke a cigarette until he confesses. And they tell him he's not leaving the room until he admits what he did.
After hours of questioning, Detective Santiago and Burke believe Anthony Wright is close to a confession. But he's not there yet.
That's when they decide it's time to bring in the big gun.
Detective Martin Devlin is a superstar in the precinct. He's known as a boa constrictor, a squeezer, a closer.
His nickname, Detective Perfect and the Golden Marty.
Detective Devlin comes into the interrogation room to do what he does best: bring difficult suspects over the finish line.
First, Devlin handcuffs the 20-year-old, then he presents Anthony with a thick document. In it are 9 key pages outlining the murder in great detail.
It's a detailed, written confession.
And all that's missing from it is Anthony's signature.
We know everything, the detective tells Anthony. It's all here in black and white.
Just sign this document and we can all go home. There's no other way out. Trust us.
Just 2 days after Louise Talley's life was snuffed out, detectives have their man in custody. 3 hours later, they have his signed confession.
Anthony Wright breaks. He signs the 9-page confession admitting to the rape and murder of 77-year-old Louise Talley.
Anthony's confession contains details only someone who was at the crime scene could know.
It says that Anthony knocked on the door and Louise answered. There was no forced entry to the home.
It says he sodomized the woman in her bedroom, smashing her in the face with the heel of a shoe that was found by her body.
He admits to stabbing her multiple times with a knife from her own kitchen.
The confession says that he hit her in the face, which happens to be just like the time he smashed that cop in the jaw while he was being apprehended years before.
The confession goes on to say that Anthony later returns to the murder house with friends to steal 2 TVs and a clock radio. Anthony even admits to what he was wearing when he killed Louise: a team jersey, black pants, and black sneakers.
The interview is over. The detectives have done their job and secured a confession from Anthony Wright.
They can now all go home. Except Anthony. He won't be going anywhere.
Anthony Wright is charged with capital murder in the death of Louise Talley and taken into custody.
Once a confession is locked in, officers can usually rest a little easier. They know they have a killer off the streets.
Wright is transferred to Holmesburg Prison, otherwise known as the Bird.
The state's most notorious gangsters and mob figures are housed here, along with Philadelphia's most violent criminals.
It's a dangerous place even for tough felons. Sometimes up to 6 stabbings a week take place at the Bird.
Anthony Wright is not a popular inmate due to the vicious and predatory nature of the crime he is charged with.
Rapists are despised in prison, and Anthony's a black man accused of sexually assaulting and killing a black woman, a senior citizen no less.
Rapists have a bullseye on their back, and they're often targets for violence by other inmates and have to be held in segregation.
Anthony Wright is behind bars, charged with the rape and murder of Louise Talley. But in this case, the police are not finished building the case against him.
Anthony's confession detailed the clothes he wore on the night of the murder.
Police execute a search warrant for his bedroom. They're looking to connect Anthony to the Chicago team jersey, the jeans, and the sneakers that were found covered in blood in Louise's home.
Anthony's mom, Myrtle, is terrified when officers come to her door.
She calls her sister Gladys, but she lets the police come inside and look around. Anything to keep the peace, and she's too rattled to take a close look at their warrant.
The officers comb through Anthony's room, and Myrtle sees them leave with a few framed photos and his work overalls. She doesn't see them leave with anything else.
But Myrtle does not get a receipt for the items removed by police, and so she can't later say with any certainty what was or wasn't taken.
Officers say during the search of the family home, they find a team jersey, black jeans, and sneakers under Anthony Wright's mattress.
And, lo and behold, there is blood all over the clothes.
Although DNA sampling isn't available yet in the early 1990s, blood typing is, so a lab test can determine if the blood type matches the victim's.
When police find a suspect's clothes at his residence and a victim's blood is all over them, it's direct evidence.
The case is sewn up like a bow, and it's time for Anthony Wright to go on trial.
Given Anthony Wright's written confession, the eyewitnesses, and the clothing link, it really feels like a foregone conclusion.
But when Anthony Wright's case goes to trial, his defense lawyer, Bernard Siegel, has other ideas. Siegel says detectives threatened his client with violence and forced him to say things that aren't true.
The prime suspect in a vicious rape and murder is turning the tables and saying that the police themselves are guilty of a terrible crime.
Anyone home?
And here, Aunt Jean.
How's it going, honey?
There's a lot to take care of. More sympathy cards.
Your mom was well loved. I hope you know how grateful she was to have you.
I know. Speaking of grateful, what is it? It's a check from United of Omaha Life Insurance Company. Mom's life insurance.
Life insurance? So soon?
Just like they said.
My sister. Always looking out for her family.
I can still hear her. I don't want my bills to be your problem. This check will help a lot.
If you're age 45 to 85, you can't be turned down for up to $25,000 in life insurance from United of Omaha. Policies start at just $6.38 a month, and benefits could be paid in as little as 24 hours.
How did she qualify? You know, with her health issues.
With these policies, health issues don't matter. She was so relieved.
Policies are available with no health questions, no medical exam, no blood tests.
I just assumed life insurance would be way over my budget.
No one kept a tighter budget than Mom. If she can manage the rates, you can too.
But did her rates go up every year?
Nope. There's a rate lock built into the policy.
Policies start at just $6.38 a month. Your rate is locked in for life. The cost of a funeral can be $9,000 or more. With one call, you can give your loved ones the protection they need to help pay these costs. And unlike some policies, benefits are payable from the first day.
Mom just felt better knowing we'd have help, and I couldn't be more grateful. You should call United of Omaha.
I guess I'll never stop learning from my big sister.
Don't put off life insurance. Call United of Omaha today.
Call 800-951-6921. You can't be turned down. Call today to lock in your rates. 800-951-6921. That's 800-951-6921.
New from Weight Watchers. Get one-on-one visits with a registered dietitian who can build a meal plan that fits you.
Yeah, that's a great way to get more protein.
For as low as $0 with qualifying insurance. Sign up now at WeightWatchers.com.
Look at this one under-eye bag. It's gone.
There's this side and this side.
50 and haven't slept in weeks. 35 and fresh from a vacation.
Have you seen these videos all over social media and said to yourself, how is that real? Well, it's real. It works in as little as 10 minutes, and these results are incredible. It's called Plexiderm, and it can change the way you look almost instantly. Plexiderm is clinically studied to help reduce the appearance of under-eye puffiness, wrinkles, and fine lines, giving you a more youthful look in minutes with results that last up to 10 hours.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Who am I?
Oh my God. I can't believe I have no lines in my face.
I'm just in love with the mirror right now.
These results are remarkable, so don't wait. Try clinically studied Plexiderm this new year for just $14.95. Visit plexidermtrial.com or call the number on your screen.
Finished my chores. Ready for my allowance.
Greenlight is way better than how I got paid for chores. Mowing all those lawns clearly paid off. That was not radical.
Bring your family into the financial future.
All right, team, saddle up. I want Q1 full index reports by desk by noon.
Are you getting any of this?
Yep, Otter's got the meeting notes. I'll ask it for action items in the channel. And Maria already asked her budget reminder. Smart.
Got it?
Got it, boss. Otter, you got this.
You didn't learn to build your credit in school, but you did learn this. Let Self help you navigate your financial journey and build your credit with free rent reporting, a credit builder account, a secured credit card, and more. We can't change the past, but the future looks a little brighter. Start building your credit today with Self.
Get your true crime fix. Dateline all week long on True Crime Network.
In October 1991, Louise Talley is stabbed to death in her Nicetown, Pennsylvania home. Within 48 hours, a prime suspect is identified and signs a written confession admitting to her rape and murder.
Anthony Wright is a 20-year-old father who lives within a mile of Louise Talley's house. He has a string of priors and is well known to police.
Police charge him with a host of crimes: rape, robbery, burglary, theft, and weapons violations.
He's also charged with capital murder, which carries the death penalty in Pennsylvania.
In May of 1993, Anthony Wright goes on trial for the rape and murder of 77-year-old widow Louise Talley. Wright pleads not guilty.
Anthony's lawyer, Bernard Siegel, tells the jury that his client did not commit the heinous crime of which he is accused, and that he has an alibi, that he is innocent.
Now, the evidence against Anthony Wright is overwhelming. Witnesses take the stand and testify they saw Anthony with 2 TV sets stolen from the Talley home. And Wright's house is walking distance from the murder scene. Then there's the matter of the clothing found at the Wright residence.
A forensic analysis tells the court that the blood on the team jersey and jeans found in Anthony Wright's bedroom is a match for Louise Talley's blood type. Stains found on the jeans are semen, further linking the sexual assault of Louise Talley to Wright.
Then, of course, there's the signed confession with details that could only have been known by the killer.
What seems like a slam dunk for the prosecution is thrown into question when Anthony Wright's lawyer files a motion to toss out his written confession.
If police are convinced they have a guilty party in custody, they sometimes push the rapper too far in pursuit of a confession.
Siegel asks the judge to throw out his client's confession on the grounds that Anthony was coerced into signing it.
Siegel's motion to have his confession struck from the evidence is ultimately denied by the judge.
On June 8th, 1993, nearly 2 years after Louise Talley is bludgeoned to death in her Nicetown home, a jury returns their unanimous verdict. Anthony Wright is guilty of first-degree murder, burglary, rape, robbery, and possession of an instrument of crime.
The one thing the jury couldn't agree upon was whether Anthony should face the gallows.
Jurors voted 7-5 in favor of the death penalty. But since the vote to execute needs to be unanimous, Anthony Wright's life is spared.
Found guilty of murder, Anthony Wright is sentenced to life in prison without the chance of parole.
Anthony won't be put to death, but he still will spend the rest of his life in prison for a murder he claims he didn't commit. With literally nothing left to lose, Anthony Wright decides, once again, to put pen to paper.
But this time, Anthony isn't writing his name on a confession for the police.
When Anthony puts pen to paper this time, he composes a letter.
Hey, I just got a text from my sister. You remember Rick, her neighbor?
Sure. He's the 76-year-old guy who still runs marathons, right?
Sadly, not anymore.
What? You mean...
Mm-hmm. Just like that.
Wow. So sudden. We're not about to have the we need life insurance conversation again, are we?
No, we're having the we're getting coverage so we don't have to worry about it conversation.
So you're calling about the $9.95 a month plan from Colonial Penn?
I am. We put it off long enough. We are getting that $9.95 plan today.
Is it time for you to call about the $9.95 plan? I'm Jonathan from Colonial Penn Life Insurance Company. Sometimes we just need a reminder not to take today for granted. It could be the death of someone you know or a health scare. That's why today could be a great day to call for free information about Colonial Penn's $9.95 plan. If you're age 50 to 85, you can get guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance starting at just $9.95 a month. There are no health questions, so you can't be turned down for any health reason. This is permanent coverage. Just pay your premiums for lifelong security. The $9.95 plan is Colonial Penn's #1 most popular whole life plan. Options start at just $9.95 a month. That's less than 35 cents a day. Your rate can never go up. It's locked in for life. Don't put it off. Take the first easy step. Call today for free information. And you'll also get this free beneficiary planner. So call now.
Call 1-800-243-5651 for your free information and free gift. That's 1-800-243-5651. There's no risk or obligation. That number again is 1-800-243-5651. 1-800-243-5651. Call now.
Hello, Colonial Penn?
Saving money is always exciting. That's why right now is the perfect time for you to join AARP. You get hundreds of benefits, resources, and tools that can help you save money, stay healthy, have fun, and make a difference in your life. Plus discounts at top retailers on dining, travel, and more. Join now to get your first year for just $12 with automatic renewal, plus a second membership for free.
Wow, that's a great deal, but I'm not retired.
Oh, you don't have to be retired. AARP is dedicated to empowering people 50 and older to choose how they live as they age.
Great, but how much can I really save?
Up to 15% off at restaurants, up to 30% off car rentals, plus free movie screenings, digital books, online games, and more. You'll even get AARP the magazine. Join now. Call or go to joinaarp.org to get your first full year for just $12 with automatic renewal. Plus, get a second membership and a trunk organizer for free.
1-800-794-1435.
Loved ones taken too soon. They're killers, still walking free.
Is it possible that there's a serial killer out there?
But for these victims, justice is finally coming, finally caught. Next on True Crime Network.
Anthony Wright is a man on ice. He's confessed to raping and murdering a senior citizen.
He's serving a sentence of life in prison without chance of parole.
Anthony Wright can't stop telling whoever will listen that he's innocent.
There are lots of inmates who will tell you they didn't do it, but few of them are as dedicated to proving their innocence as Anthony Wright.
Anthony spends hours in the library writing up to 10 letters a day, to reporters, to lawyers, to news stations. He campaigns for himself, telling his story over and over again.
Writing is cathartic, but it's also disheartening. No one is responding. No one seems to be listening.
Please listen to what my story is. Please listen to my side of what had happened without being able to fully expand on everything that he had been through and what he had actually been accused of and his part within it. So it would be this moment of panic and this longing for somebody to please listen to his side of the story and hear what his truth was.
Constant rejection can take a huge toll on a person's mental health, and prison is a very lonely place.
On the advice of a fellow inmate, Anthony writes a letter to an organization called the Innocence Project.
The Innocence Project was founded in 1992 by lawyers Barry Scheck and Peter Neufeld, who helped defend O.J. Simpson, the then disgraced footballer who was charged with double murder.
The organization is dedicated to using DNA evidence as a tool to help exonerate inmates who have been wrongfully convicted of a crime.
Like many of his letters, Anthony's note to the Innocence Project goes unanswered.
Meanwhile, Anthony's mom, Myrtle, falls ill and dies with a broken heart, knowing her son is in prison with seemingly no hope for redemption.
The day of his mother Myrtle's funeral is a dark day for Anthony Wright. He cannot leave prison to attend the service. He cannot say goodbye. Soon afterward, Anthony receives an unexpected message from the outside.
Finally, someone heard his call. Anthony shares the news with his father, who tells him his mother Myrtle is shining down love and hope for her son from heaven.
In September 2001, nearly a decade after Anthony's conviction, lawyers from the Innocence Project meet him in prison.
They explain they're going to file a petition under newly enacted legislation allowing DNA testing for prisoners who claim their innocence.
Lawyers want to test the semen on Louise Talley's bed sheets. And they want to test the blood on the team jersey, black jeans, and sneakers that investigators say they found in Anthony's bedroom.
If it's not Anthony's blood, well, whose blood is it?
In a fortunate break for Anthony Wright, key pieces of evidence are still in police evidence files. Now the Innocence Project's legal team must somehow gain access to them. Anthony Wright files a petition in 2005 to test the evidence. But a year later, in 2006, the court denies his request.
A new judge rules that because Anthony signed a confession admitting to the murder of Louise Talley, he is not entitled to obtain DNA testing from the evidence. It feels like another dead end.
The Innocence Project is persistent, and after years of legal wrangling, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court rules that Anthony's signed confession is not a reason to deny DNA testing.
In 2011, the Innocence Project lawyers are given the go-ahead to test the clothing, sheets, shoes, knife, and other evidentiary items obtained at the Louise Talley murder scene.
Will DNA technology finally prove whether Anthony Wright was in Louise Talley's house on the night she was murdered? It's 2013. For 2 years, Anthony Wright has been waiting to find out what will be revealed by the DNA testing of old crime scene evidence. Finally, an answer comes back. DNA from the team jersey, black jeans, and sneakers does not belong to Anthony Wright.
In fact, the blood and the semen and the clothes actually belong to someone else.
The DNA evidence suggests that the homicide detectives took the bloody clothing found at Louise Talley's house and planted the murder clothing in Anthony's bedroom in an attempt to strengthen their case against an innocent man.
Could it be that the Louise Talley murder case is committed by the very police who were assigned to solve it?
Are you sitting right now? It could be harming your health. Back pain, stress, and serious health risks can build up from sitting too long. But motion changes everything. Introducing Ready Rocker with its patented Rock Perfect design that supports your spine as it helps improve posture, relieve back pain, boost circulation, and release endorphins for your overall well-being, no matter where you are. Lightweight, portable, and covered in memory foam, Ready Rocker instantly transforms any chair or space into a healthier sitting experience.
Sitting too long isn't just uncomfortable, it's unhealthy. With Ready Rocker, we make sitting a healthier experience for people of all ages.
From soothing babies to helping with posture, back pain, and stress, we discovered that rocking can truly improve lives.
Sitting is the new smoking. A sedentary lifestyle, whether you're sitting at a desk or in a vehicle all day, is not good for the body to just stay in that same position. And that's why the Ready Rocker is so effective. The rocking motion constantly keeps you active and helps you ease pain, reduces stress. It actually releases endorphins in the brain. It's a mood booster.
I used to be in pain all the time, but with Ready Rocker, I felt relief, and I'm in a better mood. I take it everywhere.
I can literally feel the stress being taken off my joints while rocking.
My back stopped hurting, my arthritis felt better. It's just wonderful.
Now you can join the movement that's changing lives and helping thousands find relief. Call now or go online to get 40% off your purchase. We'll even ship it for free. Plus, you'll get this bonus seat cushion.
Ready Rocker is changing lives one rock at a time.
Now it's your turn to experience the relief for yourself.
Call 800-377-1641 or go to GetReadyRocker.com. That's 800-377-1641 or go to GetReadyRocker.com. Call now.
At Humana, we believe your health care should evolve with you, and part of that evolution means choosing the right Medicare plan for you. Humana can help. Hi, my name is Sam Davis, and I'm going to tell you about Medicare Advantage prescription drug plans that can provide more coverage than original Medicare, including prescription drug coverage, all wrapped up into one convenient plan. With original Medicare, you're covered for hospital stays and doctor office visits, but you have to meet a deductible for each, and then you're still responsible for 20% of the cost. Next, let's look at Medicare supplement plans. If a service is covered under original Medicare, then a Medicare supplement plan pays for some or all of your Medicare deductibles and the 20% co-insurance, but they may have higher monthly premiums and no prescription drug coverage. Humana Medicare Advantage prescription drug plans include medical coverage, plus prescription drug coverage, with $0 copays on hundreds of prescriptions. Most plans include $0 copays for covered preventive dental services, vision coverage that includes vision exams and a yearly allowance toward eyewear, even hearing benefits that include routine hearing exams and coverage toward hearing aids. You can get $0 copays for in-network preventive services and $0 copays for routine vaccines. And there's worldwide coverage for emergency and urgent care when you travel. Plus, Humana also offers Medicare Advantage plans. Plans have $0 or low monthly plan premiums, and there's a cap on your out-of-pocket costs. So call or go online today to see if there's a Humana plan in your area and to get our free decision guide. Licensed Humana sales agents are standing by, so call now. Humana, a more human way to healthcare.
It's been 26 heartbreaking years since 77-year-old Louise Talley was found raped and murdered in her Pennsylvania home. Devastating for her family and friends, and for an innocent man convicted of her rape and murder.
It's hard to imagine being accused of murder, let alone being thrown in prison for such a long time, with the shame of such a criminal conviction suffered by poor Anthony Wright.
For almost every hour of every day of those 26 years, Anthony Wright professed his innocence, except for the one critical moment when he signed a confession to her killing.
How do you turn a boat around? It's actually Anthony Wright's unyielding determination that is his strongest ally.
With the help of lawyers from the Innocence Project, along with a modern and sophisticated DNA test, it's now clear that blood and semen samples from the Talley House crime scene do not belong to Anthony Wright.
Ronnie Bird was a crack cocaine addict and a career criminal who lived in an abandoned house a stone's throw away from Louise Talley's two-story home. It's Bird's semen that was left on Louise Talley's sheets.
Ronnie Bird's DNA identifies him as Louise Talley's real killer. The career criminal is in a coma on life support, dying from a chronic illness. He dies in South Carolina later that same year.
Closure can be very important for the family members of crime victims. At least Louise Talley's family can rest knowing the person who killed her is off the streets, even though they'll never see him held accountable for killing her.
On August 23, 2016, after a short retrial, Anthony Wright is found not guilty on all counts. It takes just 5 minutes for the jury to reverse his conviction.
We did it, yeah, I mean, today is our day. Today is our day. Today is our day.
There's a lot of false evidence that people ought to be held accountable for, but the key is the science.
After 26 long years, Anthony Wright is at last a free man.
Anthony Wright becomes the 344th person in the United States to be exonerated by DNA evidence.
In June 2018, a settlement with the city of Philadelphia awards Anthony $9.85 million, the largest ever seen at the time.
Meanwhile, in August 2021, the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office files perjury and charges against Devlin, Santiago, and Yashimsky.
In Philadelphia today, a first. District Attorney Larry Krasner announcing charges against 3 former homicide detectives.
And the charges in this case relate directly to words that they stated, things that they said in and out of court.
A grand jury presentment unsealed that day ties the charges to the detective's testimony at Wright's retrial, accusing them of lying under oath to condemn an innocent man and covering up their wrongdoing.
When a criminal commits an almost perfect crime, it's noteworthy. But the thought of police committing a crime and getting away with it for all these years? Now that's shocking.
Though much of his life was stolen from him, Anthony Wright continues to thrive on the outside.
He's a husband, a father, and a published author. He has his life story tattooed on his arms, and he's an impassioned advocate for the wrongfully accused.
I don't wish no bad on nobody, man, but what was done to me was wrong. What was done to me was wrong. I missed my son's whole life. I wasn't able to probably lay my mother to rest.
Having somebody who understands the trauma that is associated with can never be replaced. It is commendable. It is amazing. It is an act of forgiveness and honor to other people that may be in the same predicament.
I mean, today is our day. Today is our day. to clear his own game.
There was a lot of false evidence that people ought to be held accountable for. But the key is the science. And what the Innocence